bitch, you a bird, you thigh, you learn, you see, I earn, you stop. A word, I shoot, no rim, I'm high. You burn, I'm me, that's him, you not, that's word.
Well, look, guys, today we're joined by Modestas Bukauskas. He takes on Marcin Prachnio at UFC 304 in Manchester. Obviously, we're a little more than a month away now from the fight, man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I know it's a massive cliche saying, "Oh, I'm in the best shape." But literally, it couldn't be any more true, though. I've been working extensively. I've been changing a lot of little miscellaneous things, just in my training and my way of being, and just me as an athlete. And you can see it's been paying off. Everything just seems like it's on point, and I'm glad that everything is firing on the right cylinders, especially as we're getting closer to fight night.
Yeah, and absolutely. And look, the last time we saw you in November against Vitor Petrino, right? They say that losses oftentimes can be good lessons. I mean, is there anything you were able to take away from that fight that you're able to sort of bring with you now going forward?
Yeah, 100%, brother. I feel like in that fight, I got caught with a shot. It's almost God's way of saying, like you need to sort some certain things out if in order for you to go forward, and in order for you to go and compete with the guys at the top. That's the way that I look at it, and especially as well since there was such a long time period between that fight and this fight. I was hoping maybe I would at least get a fight, maybe in April as well before this one. But I feel like everything has happened with divine timing, as it were. But yeah, man, just to be more confident in my skill sets, work on the like. No one knows that I can wrestle. Do you know what I mean? So work on that aspect even more. Working on my placement, and also just living more like an athlete. Do you know what I mean? Like Marvin Hagler says, he's going to jail. It's feed the faith and starve the doubt, and that's essentially a massive part of my being and my development as a fighter. I went to train with Sergey Maslaboyev as well, and he taught me some really cool tricks. He's a
Yeah.
glory kickboxing champion. So some stuff to add to my game. So yeah, just like the overall just overall MMA skill set, I feel has just gotten even better. And like I say, I got the fight at the right time in order to be able to show those techniques and those things the best way possible. So yeah, I'm really excited.
That sounds great. And look, not many fighters get the chance to come back to the UFC in the first place, especially after things didn't go too well the first time. How does it feel to be back now? I mean, what'd you learn from that first stint, right? Similar to what you learned maybe from that loss. Is there anything you learned sort of from that first UFC stint that's allowed you to come back and find some success now?
Yeah, no, well, I definitely think a couple of things. I think from the first one is more of like a mental thing. After having won my debut, that was funny enough the fight where I felt like kind of the most free, the most loose, the most calm, and then obviously that's where I got the win and the bonus. So, and then in the other fights I kind of just shied away. I didn't really fight with much intensity or warrior like spirit and mentality. And I feel like I had to go through some really dark times in order to give myself the mentality and just like the aura of what it is to actually just be a fighter, like going into fighting in a sense of war, not as competition.
Yeah.
I feel like I rushed a lot of things, like taking the Jimmy Crute fight way too early in my career, and stuff like this. Some certain little nuances in my striking and just letting loose a lot more. So, already from that first run, I've just become new and improved, and I'm very thankful because I think I was definitely able to put that on show against Tyson Pedro. Just like I say, the warrior spirit mentality, throwing more shots and just being more loose out there. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep continuing to bring that forward as the fights in my career go on.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like in that you sustained that bad injury in the Roundtree fight. Did that take a turn for the worse for you as far as physically, mentally? Like, what was that period like recovering from a knee injury like that?
Well, I mean, not I don't know how many people know, but 10 weeks out from the fight, I already had two meniscus tears, and 75% of the ACL was torn before the
Wow.
fight. Uh, I'd been dealing with an ACL injury already since 2019. I didn't even realize. I didn't. So before I defended my Cage Warriors belt, 3 weeks out, I again without knowing, thinking like I didn't get anything checked. I torn my ACL at that point. So
Wow.
essentially, I was building and regrouping my muscles in my legs since 2019. That's why I was actually able to take the fight, because my leg muscles have gotten so strong at holding everything in place. But unfortunately, it was just the leg muscles that were holding everything in place, not the actual ligaments doing their job. So, and then obviously
Wow.
the sideward stance and stuff like this, it just made it incredibly easy for him to time that shot and take my leg out. Um, the doctors, when they looked at the leg and analyzed it, they said it's not as bad as we thought it would be. It was still very bad, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as bad as they thought. So they're actually quite they had a lot of faith in obviously bringing it back together. I mean, they did a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, I went through a very shit stage in my life. Like I say, I was drinking myself to sleep, not wanting to be in reality. I didn't want to have to face reality. And then obviously getting cut from the UFC, I was like in this limbo. I don't know where I was. I don't know what I was doing. I was just kind of just sitting there thinking, I just wish I'm just not here. Like, I don't want to be in this environment. I don't want to be in the situation that I'm in. And especially knowing that I'm looking up at this mountain of getting back to where I want to be, and I'm standing at the bottom. Looking up at that mountain, it's a very daunting task. But the whole time, I knew I wanted to prove everyone wrong, and I wanted to prove what I'm all fucking about. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like I've been in the UFC and haven't showed people even 50% of what I'm capable of, and that was a big thing for me. It's like, okay, stage fright, this, whatever. Like, why the hell can't I just be that guy who I know I can be? And that was really frustrating for me. So for me, it's like, imagine if the story would end there. Oh, first Lithuanian-born athlete in the UFC, got a good win, and then lost that, and then rode off into the sunset. I'm like, if the story ended there, that's a really shit story. So, I knew that I had to continue and work my way back, and you know, like I say, I had to prove myself right, and I had my dad and my very close people there with me, telling me that I can come back and give me all the tools necessary to make that happen. And it was just day by day picking it apart, day by day, just slowly getting better, slowly getting more recovered, and then yeah, just slowly working towards the ultimate goal. And I feel that I learned the value of patience as well, because I just wanted to rush, 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 get sign a new promotion, get this, get that. And, I didn't fight till November. So, I just learned to, like I say, just take my time, keep living my life. I learned to enjoy the process of every day, as opposed to enjoying the process because I have a fight. So I was enjoying the process of, I'm just living my life every day and I'm enjoying this. So, like I say, I'm very thankful that God put me in these treacherous situations, because it just made me a better person today. And it's just, yeah, it's great for me, because life's all about learning, right? And I love that I'm learning all these lessons.
I mean, you definitely love to hear a story like that, especially when you can come out of it on the other side. And I think the fact that you got back into the UFC, I think that's a great story in and of itself. So I was curious to get your thoughts on that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries. No, all good. Yeah, well, so after I beat Lee Chadwick, really good fighter, great opponent. Um, Obviously, there was a Team USA v Team Europe card. There was an American who just knocked out another light heavyweight from the UK. I called that straight away. I said, look, give me that fight against that American for the belt again. I said, if anyone deserves to fight for the belt, it's me. I'm the last person that held the light heavyweight belt. I need to fight for it again.
Right.
I went crazy for that fight, and I got it. And then I knew I needed something. I knew I needed something spectacular to bring the attention of the UFC, and I knew I couldn't just win that fight by decision. I had to win with something crazy, and it's just mad how everything all comes together, right? Because my dad was telling me before the fight, he goes, Modestas, why do you not knock out anyone with hands? I want knockout with hands. And it's funny because that's exactly what happened. Like,
Yeah.
he'd been literally like saying as a joke, like, do you know what I mean? Like, shouting for it. He says, Modestas, your hands are so good. Why? Like, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. And then you know, lo and behold, it happened. So
That's crazy. Yeah.
uh, yeah, and then you know, I was still one thing I learned to do during the course of that whole year was stay in shape. Even though I didn't have a fight, I always stayed in good shape, mainly to get the six pack photos for Instagram. But
Yeah.
still either way, I still managed to like I say, it still kept me on a good way. And so after the fight, I didn't stop. I'm like, I could get a call, you know, if the call doesn't come, but I could get it. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, that was a massive knockout on news. Everyone was watching that. I remember I think I have more than 10 million views on that knockout. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, people know about it. And and again, I was just flicking through all the cards that were coming up, thinking, oh, potential could fight. And I remember just looking at the Tyson Pedro and Zhang Ming Yang fight, and I'm like, I bet you, you know, maybe by some chance or another, I could fight on that card. And yeah, I remember I was at the craziest thing is the weekend before I got the call, I literally went out with one of my good friends and training partners, Will Curry, and we got absolutely hammered. Like, you know, we'd been training hard and we just thought, fuck it, we'll just go out, we'll go on a night out. And yeah,
Right.
we got absolutely wasted. And then on the Wednesday, first I got a call that from my manager, okay, you're gonna defend your Cage Warriors belt. So already I was like, okay, that was like midday. And then I went to training in the evening. And then as I was driving home, like literally in the forest I live, like literally there's no signal. I got like a video call from my manager, and then yeah, I literally pulled over to the side of the road, and yeah, he basically told me like, Modestas, how's your weight looking? I said, oh yeah, it's yeah, I'm not fat, so that's good. And then
Yeah.
yeah, he told me that I'll be fighting in Australia in 2 weeks' time. I was like, no way. And to be honest, like it felt more crazy the second time round than it did the first time round. Like I almost felt like I was on drugs. Like I felt like I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like really lightheaded. Like I felt like it wasn't even real. I was like, what is this actually happening right
Maybe
now?
you didn't
Like
feel like you would be back there, so it was kind of surreal.
well,
Or maybe
I,
I'm sure
I
you were
knew,
confident, but maybe there was a
yeah,
chance.
I knew that was, but because I'd already had the contract for, they already just sent through the contracts for the Cage Warriors fight. I thought, okay, this is going to be prolonged a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea that that was the call that he was going to give me. Had
Right.
absolutely no idea. And
Not at
then,
that time.
yeah, and like I said, I was screaming. I had like this freaking Witcher war music in the background. Like I was going mad, and I was literally just 5 minutes from home. And for that last 5 minutes, I was just like some Viking warrior, just like bloody screaming the whole time in my car. My window was wide open as well, so I'm pretty sure people must have heard me as I was driving
Yeah.
driving back to my house. But yeah, no, it was a really incredible feeling, but also at the same point, I'm like, now's my time to fucking prove myself. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's it, man.
Speaking of proving yourself, right now that you're in the UFC, you said it yourself. You had 7 fights in the promotion. Now you're only just starting to fight at home now, right? How does that feel? Do you feel like this could be the chance for you to finally prove yourself, finally, make the statement you've been wanting to make for so long? Do you feel like this is the perfect, stage at home,
Yeah,
UFC
yeah,
304, big pay-per-view? Do you feel like this is the time?
yeah. I feel like again, like this is divine timing. It couldn't be at a better place, you know, to fight at home. I've been asking for it for ages. I remember I was saying like, you know, surely I would have earned it after the Pedro fight, and then I had another 2 fights away from home, you know. So and like I feel like I said, just everything just coming together at exactly the right time. It was exactly when it should be happening. God's already putting the pieces together and filling out the right way as I'm learning, as I'm getting better, and ultimately it just comes down to me just being relaxed and having the best analogy I can describe it is be that guy who's not scared to jump when he's got a backpack on, doesn't know if the parachute's going to open and he's jumping off that cliff. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got to be willing just to not even question anything and just jump right in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just have faith that that parachute's going to come open and you're going to be fine. And then once it does open, the views and the vibe that you're getting is going to be absolutely incredible. So it's just a case of me just going out there, really feeling the warrior spirit and vibe from my ancestors, and going out there and just, like I say, just putting it all on the line, just having that confidence to fully let loose. And I feel I have no barriers. Like I have no barriers in my head. Oh, what about the cardio? Oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? There are no barriers because I've been, you know, feed the faith, starve the doubt, and that's all I've been doing this camp. So yeah, I feel like that will ultimately lead to my best performance, and I'm just going to relax and have fun in there.
Yeah. How far away is the fight from where you live?
It's about 3.5 hours, something like this.
Okay.
It's actually not that bad because I'm in Liverpool right now, so Liverpool's not far, about an hour from Manchester,
All
and
right.
because I'm training with Tom Aspinall, and
Yeah.
yeah, so it takes me 2 hours. Sorry, yeah, it takes me 3 hours to get to there, so about 3.5 hours. So it's not bad at all.
Again, you mentioned Aspinall. What's it like training for a fight, with a savage like that? Is it easy to see how good a guy is like that behind the scenes?
Well, mate, it's just amazing to be able to train with such a high level athlete, one of the nicest guys ever, and his whole, his dad's great, his whole family's great, his training partners are amazing. Mick Parkin, James Webb has been training with us as well. You got Phil DeFries, Pavel Delidko. You got such a Ante Delia's here as well. Like, so you got like a wealth of just amazing fighters, and they're all just there for one goal, and which is to just Martin Bude was there as well. So you got a whole host of like amazing names, and then you got obviously Tom, the champion of the world. They're all just trying to learn from each other and get better, and it's been absolutely amazing. He what I really like about him is that he's like very open, like he's very open to like bringing in new guys to help to train, and he's very friendly. Like as great as he looks on TV, he's even better outside of it. So it's just been the fact that I'm training with heavyweights is another great thing, because when I spar with like lighter guys or guys my own weight, it doesn't feel quite as taxing. So these are all other like really good things that have been added to my game. It's mad because I don't need to travel nowhere. I don't need to leave country. I can literally just be right here and train with the best in the world. And
Absolutely. The UK scene's great for MMA, right?
oh mate, I'm so grateful to have that opportunity, and grateful to have that host of, just like I say, amazing talent open to me right here, like just about 3 hours away from home. So
Yeah.
obviously I've decided to fully utilize that.
Absolutely. What do you think about Tom defending defending the interim title is just a strange thing to say, but how do you see that fight going? How do you see it playing out against Curtis Blades? Obviously, that first one with the injury kind of cut it short a little bit, but you got to think Tom will do well in the second one.
He's got very good training partners that I think will mimic his style, and people people underestimate Tom. Like honestly, his speed, his athleticism, he's on another level. He's like a heavyweight, but with like light heavyweight attributes. Like in
Yeah,
terms of
absolutely.
like the speed and athleticism. He moves. His hands are great. So and all areas of his game are really good, and he just drills them and perfects them all the time. So I'm looking for Tom to go and get the finish in this fight. I definitely. I'm rooting him all the way because, yeah, like I say, amazing athlete and an amazing person.
Absolutely. I mean, I heard you mention experience when you were talking about Marcin in this fight. Is that something that stood out when you look at him as a fighter? I mean, he's definitely seen a lot of stuff in the octagon that could sometimes make for a challenging opponent, right? What do you think
Oh
about
yeah,
him as a matchup?
yeah. He's obviously he presents many challenges. He's had a lot of fights in there. He had a bit of a rocky start, but then he sort of brought it back.
Yeah, he's got some
He's
good wins.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. He's got some great wins. He's perfected his technique. He's worked on the areas where he was weak, a bit similar to me as well. Me working on the areas where I'm weak, he's also done the same thing, and now he's just become more efficient at it. He's become better at it, and yeah, he's a very dangerous guy in that Kyokushin Kai type style really pays dividends for him. He's a heavy guy, but he lands he lands some big shots. He can throw kicks from all angles. I
Yeah.
can throw. It's not often that I fight against a guy who can kick from all angles like I do, and he can do exactly that. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a very interesting and entertaining fight for sure.
I agree. He has that karate style, likes to throw those low kicks, right? Have you been preparing for something? You have a game plan in place to sort of neutralize some of that stuff. Obviously, you don't want to give away
Of
what you're
course,
doing,
of
but
course,
you're
of
drilling some of
course.
that.
Listen. we've seen what this guy brings to the table,
You
but you
guys are
got to be
covering all
prepared.
bases.
Yeah, you got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
When you go in there, you're gonna have something that's gonna be your go-tos, but ultimately, things could change. Like when I fought Rountree, he turned up a completely different animal to what he was fighting previously. So I'm going in
Yeah, that
there
was the
with
start of that run he went on, right?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm going in there with the intention of enforcing my game plan, but also being wary that things could also change in there, and just being highly adaptable as an athlete and as a fighter.
You look at Prachnio, he's definitely struggled in stretches, especially with a quality opponent. But again, he does have some quality wins over guys like Roundtree. Like you said, I definitely see a guy who's capable. When you're dealing with a guy like this, is it a more dangerous fight when you kind of don't know what you're going to get? Like, obviously, he's had some bad losses. He's had some good wins. So it's kind of, you don't really know what to expect. I feel like that could be a bit more tricky.
Yeah, 100%. He's like, he doesn't fight like not like other light heavyweights. He doesn't fight like other fighters. So, but the same way that he's unorthodox, so am I. I
Sure.
think we both bring that level of unorthodox fighting style to the table, which is why the clash of those two styles will be very interesting for everyone to see, and interesting to go out and figure out that puzzle. But like I said, I've been training extensively. I've been working on the areas that I definitely needed to work on, and I feel like I'm going to use those in the fight to overwhelm him and take the win.
So again, I mean, what do I know, right? I'm just a fan watching. But if you look at Prachnio, he's been out wrestled, out grappled a number of times. Based on what I've seen, in my opinion, I anticipate this to be a striking match with not many takedowns. But again, what do I know, right? Like, you guys are going to go in and figure that out. This is just what I'm predicting. If the fight were to go to the ground, how confident are you could have some success there?
Oh, I mean, look, I'm confident in all my abilities. I'm confident in my wrestling, in my jiu-jitsu, in my
Sure.
striking. Wherever the fight goes, I'll be able to handle it accordingly. But I'm even more so confident in myself to handle those areas even better, just because I've been working on that. Like since November, I've been working tirelessly to make sure all areas of my game that there's no chink in my armor.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, look, as far as the inaccuracies as to assume that it's going to be a striking match, like do you again, what I'm trying to say is, do you think it's inaccurate to assume that this is just going to be mostly a striking match? Like, would that be inaccurate to just assume that?
Listen, people can assume what they want. Listen,
Sure.
obviously deciding, it's all determined by how we've had our previous fights. And yeah, on paper, that looks like that's the way it will go.
Right.
Will it go that way? I have no idea. It might very
Absolutely.
well be just a striking match, but ultimately it'll be, we go out there on the day, and we throw hands, we throw our swords against each other, and then that's that. We put our weapons against each other, and then yeah, who knows? Who knows? Like I say, you got to take what the fight gives you. You got to take what the fight gives you. It's all about adaptation. In the fight, if it's presented to me that I'll strike, I'll strike. If it's presented, then you'll wrestle. But yeah, ultimately, it's a fight. So you gotta take what's given to you.
Any plans at all to use that 4-inch reach, sort of pick them apart from the outside? I'm sure that's very much the game plan.
Oh well, you know, I don't really look into that reach stuff too much unless it's like a very considerable difference.
Okay.
I've fought guys with very long reach. I fought guys with very short reach. Guys with short reach can still reach you with those punches depending on how they move their head, and obviously like Prachnio, he moves his head around. He dips in all different angles, and obviously he uses his kicks a lot. So um, you know, uh, at the end of the day, like I say, if I can see that I can use that advantage, I will. If not, then I'll employ a different game plan. So as I say, it's all adaptation on the day.
When you look at the fight, right, I think it definitely favors you the longer it goes based on your gas tank. I mean, if it does go into the later rounds, do you feel like that's something you can capitalize on maybe? Because you do have a
Oh,
good gas tank.
even more so now, mate. Even more so
Oh,
now. I'll tell
really?
you that.
So
That
that's
is
something
definitely
you've
going
been
to be
working on in your time off?
that is going to be something that is going to be a massive weapon in this fight. I'm looking to push the pace. I'm not looking to mess around. I'm looking to go in there, throw down, and yeah, if it gets to the point where I wear him down, great. I'm ready for whatever. Even if, like I say, I'm ready for the worst situations and the best situations. So uh, I've been putting myself through hell this camp, so I fully expect everything in that area to be all good.
Aside from the fight, right? When you're sort of in the midst of war, in the midst of, nonstop training, just the grind as you approach a fight, is there anything you like to do while you're in camp that maybe puts your mind at ease, that sort of relaxes you at all?
This might sound a bit sadistic. I don't know. I kind of like to suffer, man. Like, I don't know. I think there's actually a calmness in suffering. Like there's obviously it's horrible when you're going through it, but the benefits of it. Like how much better you're gonna be, how much mentally stronger you're gonna be. So you actually just enjoy suffering a little bit more. Like going into the cold plunge when I know I fucking hate it, but you just do it and you just, like I said, just going to that cliff and just jumping. That's what I'm doing every single day. I'm putting myself in situations where I know I don't want to do it, but I'm just going to do it anyways. I'm forcing myself to do things that I don't want to do. And even scientifically, there's like a cortex in your brain that if you do things that you really don't like to do, it makes that bigger and that improves longevity in your life, apparently. So I'm just and I mean, you look in my downtime, I like to watch a bit of YouTube, like to watch some fight footage, a bit of Netflix, a bit of Harry Potter here and there. But I mean, realistically, I'm trying to rest a lot. Like in between, I don't get the luxury of being able to watch TV a lot or anything like that. But I like to go on walks. I like to, like I say, do a sauna, do a cold plunge, like these kind of things. Those are the things I like to do and do in my downtime because realistically, I'm making use of my downtime because I'm recovering.
Right.
Because
That's
most of
still
the
a
time,
productive way of downtime for
yeah,
sure. Walking, cold plunges.
yeah, because most of the time I bloody need to. My body's gone by the end of the week. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah.
after like today doing 6 5-minute rounds with these monsters, So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's pretty much just I'm enjoying not doing anything. Like I used to always want to find something to do on a Saturday night. Now I'm absolutely okay to be at home and just chill, or like I say, just walk around everywhere, drink coffees, not drinking alcohol. All these things, man. They all play a massive part.
And that could be that could definitely be a mindset that gets you over the top, right? Because it sounds like a very disciplined lifestyle that you're living right now.
Oh, 100. Listen, mate, feed the faith and starve the doubt. That just keeps ringing through my
Yeah,
head
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
time.
I heard you
Keeps
mention
ringing
that.
through my head all the time, and you get a much more sense of a fulfillment from doing it that way. Why not go into a fight with all stones unturned instead of I'm going into a fight, everything training wise is good, but everything on the outside is a meh, 5 out of 10. You don't want that. You at this level, everything has to be. You want to make everything as perfect as possible, and then it's down to you on the day to go and put it to good use. That's all it is. But why not give myself the best chances of victory?
Yeah, I love that, man. Well, look, I think that's going to conclude our time. I think we've just about covered it all. Guys, Modestas Bukauskas, he returns home to take on Marcin Prachnio at UFC 304 in Manchester. I do appreciate the time, man. Thanks for the insight on the camp, everything that's been going on with you. And yeah, good luck.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for having me here. You're the man. Yeah, like I said, really like talking to you. So thank you.